Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. It's not like,
man. Thank goodness.
Hey, what's going on, Hex Late Show peeps? It's 43 OG here with you on a Tuesday evening in Australia. What is going on? I can see some people already coming in to the chat. I can see Dan Wednesday, Ash, Hex Enthusiast. I can see Red Squirrel, Par Excellence. What's up, my bro? Oh, if you guys don't know, Dozer, who is Par Excellence in the chat, and I do a stream. It's actually Doz's stream, but I join him on a Friday afternoon for happy hour drinks. So if you guys want to come and check that out, it's Friday afternoon Australian time. We've got Steve Mac 1966. We've got Crypto Claz. We've got Retro Static. IB19. What's going on, people? I don't have my camera with me this evening, so I'm going to be streaming without one, which I'm sure will be fine for all of you guys. Before we go any further, let me just open this can. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was just looking at the chart before coming on stream, and I know that tonight we're going to have Tangent, and we have Sammy. I think Sammy's coming on, and maybe Jexa a bit later. I'm not sure if Bluey's coming on. We'll find out. I've got a feeling he won't be because I know that he's been traveling, so we'll see how that goes. Before I go any further, let me just first of all, can I just do a sound check? Can you guys hear me at all? Can you hear me? Yes, no, maybe. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I can't see anything in the chat. So let me see. Let me bring up this other loud and clear. Okay, perfect. All right. So another week in crypto. I feel like a lot has happened, not much with hex prices and things of the sort. But I'll bring up a chart. Let me just, there we go. Okay, so this is your Hex on Pulsechain chart. So we're down pretty low. I mean, this chart is a chart that began in, I think, when was it? Like the 10th or the 12th of May. And we started down here. It quickly rose up to a third of a cent. And then since then, it's sort of fluctuated between that third of a cent mark and where we are now, which is about a sixth. No, what is that? A sixth of a cent. So, and let's have a look at that in terms of pulse as well, because that's always, I find that helpful. Here we go. So we started out here, 1 hex on Pulsechain costing around 75 pulse, and it quickly moved up and fluctuated in this zone here, up to 140, back down to just in the 90s, and then back up to 130, and then it slowly worked its way up, and we got up to this point here in the 200s, and we sort of were bouncing off this 200 range back up to 230. We came down to 160, back up to 230, 240, and now we're sitting on 185. So who knows where that's going to go, but it looks like it's trending in one direction. It looks like at the moment, it looks like it's costing, 1 hex is costing more and more pulse. So who knows what's going to happen? Who knows if that's going to keep trending in that direction or whether it's going to come back? It's sort of a difficult thing to predict. You never know. You never know. When I think about it, I think I feel like the inflation of hex is going to be more than the inflation of pulse. So, I mean, if I was just going to follow that train of thought, I'd say that maybe in the coming months or years, we're going to see the cost of hex in terms of pulse go down. So maybe we'll come down into this range, and that's just based on the assumption that hex is going to have more supply coming onto the market in years, because the inflation grows year on year. Whereas I don't know if that's going to be the case for pulse, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I certainly have no idea. One thing that I hope is that both of them do well. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out. I got Tangent in the back. Let me bring him up.
Yo, I realized I could actually have put myself into the stream because I'm logged in through the access you gave me. But I thought I'd wait. I thought I'd wait until you were done. What's going on, man? What's this little bumblebee or like a cicada or whatever it is? Is this some kind of
it's an AI
Egyptian,
hornet, dude.
Is it like an
AI
Egyptian
hornet?
Oh.
That's all it is, dude. I just typed it into AI and I said, make me something.
Dude, so excited I just breathed water in.
That's
so yeah, man. Hey,
today, didn't you?
Bro, how have you been? What's going on?
I've been good.
Generally
dude.
excited.
I've been good. I'm excited by your excitement because you have been in our chat just blowing it up with like full caps, and just like, just like, when it's like a small chat room, it's like there's only about 4 or 5 of us in this chat room, and Tangent's just full caps screaming at the top of his lungs some shit. So he's excited. Today he's been extremely excited.
Yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm absolutely pumped. I'm pumped up. So yeah, man. What's going on? Like the things I'm excited about. I'm just excited. I think we've got things going on. It's excitement plus. I did a stream today on this channel, by the way. Sub to the channel if you want to make sure you don't miss those episodes and these episodes. And I'm going to do another one real soon, so that then if I do another one by this Thursday, it will have averaged 1 a week since I've started, even though the gaps have been like long, short.
Yeah. You're just getting started. So you haven't, and from what I understand, you weren't going to have an actual route, like a time set in stone. You were just going to do them as you used to do them when you're on the on your own channel, just whenever.
Yeah. And I was going to look at maybe having a schedule if the show blows up for maybe one of the streams a week or something like that. But I didn't tell you yet, but I got a little bit worried that someone who also does TA asked me, they said, "Oh, I really love the idea that you've come up with this whole like the DAO mechanism," because they were having the same problem, or the problem. I never had the problem because I foresaw it, but they were having the problem where they wanted to chart, but everyone wants their coin to be done, complains when their coin is not charted, and then you've got other people complaining when you're charting coins that they think that shouldn't be on the show, right? So you get complaints from both directions, right? And I foresaw that problem, and that's why I created the Dilly DAO. And so they were like, "Can I copy your idea?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, like sure, like it's of course, it's just an idea. It's crypto,
just an idea."
And I knew I couldn't stop them anyway, even if I said, "Oh no, don't use my idea." So I said yes, and then
that's like a template for how you can do this type of show. It's not really intellectual property per se.
Yeah. So I didn't realize when I said yes that they were going to launch like immediately into doing it, and they're on a channel that's like literally 4 times the size of this channel. And I was like, so for a split second, I was like, oh man, like my show might be dead in the water now, because if someone takes basically the same idea, but has a bigger channel and more attention.
You are not, Tangent, I'm just going to pump you up a bit here, mate. You are not giving yourself enough credit as the host, as someone who brings a fair bit of comic relief to the process.
I appreciate that.
Whatever someone else is, I'm not just saying it for like whatever anyone else brings to the table, it's not going to be what you bring to the table. So you're going to occupy your own space no matter what. And I think people will appreciate what you do. And who gives a fuck about numbers, man? I mean, numbers matter, but you only need a handful of whales. You only need like 1 or 2 whales to be watching you, dude, to get the sort of outcome that you. I guess you're not really doing it for an outcome. You're just talking about different coins because that's what you like to do. You were doing it years ago, and you're doing it again now.
Yeah. I guess it was an irrational fear in the sense that I thought, oh, what about if all the main projects, the better projects, go and do it on that channel, and I'm left with coins that are not as good or none at all. But then I realized that I've got that sponsorship arrangement, which doesn't have a time limit.
They're going to want to do it on your channel as well.
So sorry. Oh, sorry, yeah. I guess maybe they'd do both channels or whatever. But also the thing that de-stressed me was I had that early sponsorship arrangement where one of the Tangang coins decided to sponsor me on behalf of the Tangang, and so that was like there was no time limit on that. In fact, it was the other way around. They basically said, once the show gets big enough that you don't need our support anymore, that's the only time that they'll pull the support. So it would be me leaving their sponsorship, not them leaving me. So I was just like, stuff it. Like I've got that support with no time limit on it, and so I'll just keep doing it and see where it goes.
Yeah, dude, you've just started. There's nothing that should be, bringing you down in any way, shape, or form. You just go.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
It, dude.
Yeah. And then, dude, within that episode, one user, I think their handle on Twitter is StakeHex. So and they maybe have a website because it says, I think it's stakehex.xyz. Let me just check that and just see if that's actually a website.
There's one that's called stakehex.today, but
stakehex.xyz, I think it was or maybe it was something else, but no, yeah, there's a website here.
Staker app.
Oh my God, it's Staker app. So would that have been one of the people in that team? And anyway, someone with that handle sent in enough coins to completely fill the next episode in that one episode. They were just in the audience and they were like, how do we do this? And I was like, just check episode 1 to see how the dilly DAO works. And they were just like, boom, sent in enough coins to literally fill the entire next episode. It was crazy. So
awesome.
Yeah, so it was really good.
It's working. So it's working.
Yeah, it's already working. It's already on its way. And I think it's an interesting way to get exposure to coins that I maybe wouldn't hear about or look at and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah. Yep. So that show is all about exploring PRC20s, and like just new tokens, new projects, and but this show is about Hex. And before you came on, I was looking at the chart, and I'll just bring it up again. This is the
time.
No, this is the Hex on Pulsechain, in USD. So sort of.
Also, it only starts when Pulsechain started.
Yeah, only starts when Pulsechain started, and then this is the same chart, but in terms of Pulse. So you can see Hex is costing more Pulse than it came out. It came out and it was around 100 Pulse mark for a Hex on Pulsechain, and now it's sitting on the 185. But it's been as high as like almost like 240. Pretty much, it's been as high as about.
Yeah, it's crazy how because Pulse has been going down. It's crazy how some of these things look like they've gone down in price, but they've actually gone up relative to Pulse.
So the thing I was touching on before you came on was, like, where do we think this? Like, what do you think is going to happen with this chart, given what we know about the supply of Hex and the supply of Pulse? In future. What do you think is going to happen to this chart? Where is it going to go?
Oh, I mean, it looks bullish. Like that, if you look at that chart, that looks bullish. But I guess the problem is if Pulse keeps bleeding, I guess Pulse probably going to find a floor at some point.
What about from the supply perspective? The perspective that Pulse, its inflation is going to be a lot more limited, and Hex inflation over time is just going to be going up.
Sammy's here, by the way. Can I bring her in?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't see her.
Hey, Sammy, how you going?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Really good, really good. Day 43 is trying to FUD my Hex bag.
Is he?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
What is he saying?
I'm not trying to FUD.
I'm just kidding.
No, I think that they both go up. I mean, they're both going to go up. I'm just saying. I think
they're both going to go up.
Yeah. That was my conclusion.
I think that now that PLS is under the SAC price, even for the most heaviest whales, right?
Yeah.
It kind of it seems to me like it should be kind of like grinding the lows now. If it's not going up, it should just be basically
the ratio
sideways,
though,
right?
The ratio between Hex and Pulse. How do you think that? What do you think is going to happen? The ratio between those two.
But you're saying that because Hex is inflationary, but Pulse is deflationary.
Well, is Pulse deflationary? I mean, it's probably inflationary as well, but you know, it follows the same model as Ethereum.
Sorry, it can be deflationary.
It can be.
You know what? If I had to guess without like really thinking about the mechanics of it, I would just say that Hex. I just think the chart of Hex would just go up, because once everything's going up, Pulse will be going up, but then Hex will also be going up relative to Pulse, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
it's a hard one.
Do I have a logical reason
predict.
for that?
I mean,
I guess it's been what's been happening so far, if you look at general trend. Also, but that assumes a bull market. I think once we're in a convincing bull market, so Bitcoin's definitely in a bull market, but it takes time for it to filter down through other chains and whatnot. So I think once we're in like the proper full bull where everything's bull mode, I think Hex will outperform Pulse if I had to guess.
Cool. That would
it just makes sense to me that, do you know what I mean? Like, as in, if people are buying it, then I guess it can go down relative to Pulse. I think I need to give it more thought, man. It's a tough one.
Yep, it's a hard one to predict. It might oscillate. Like it might. The volatility between the two might be high. It might be really high. We're going to find out. That's for sure.
Because people can buy it. So because people can buy it with Pulse or dollars. You know what? We should look historically at what typically happens to, although has a chain ever had a like primary store of value that isn't the native asset? I don't think that's ever happened before. This might be a first. This might be a first, that there's a token on the chain that's not the native asset that is considered to be the gold standard for value storage. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
So then we don't have historic examples to look at, do we?
If I look at Hex in terms of Ethereum,
but on
this
Ethereum,
only goes back to May
Hex
21.
Hex was never considered by like everyone to be the primary storage, value storage. It was only a niche community. Whereas I think on Pulse Chain, Hex will be considered by like almost everyone to be and maybe that's not true, that not everyone, but a dominant proportion of the network participants. Like I'm very bullish on Hex, by the way. I'm very, very bullish on Hex.
Me too. Going into
just Hex, not E-Hex.
Both. Both. But I guess here I'm talking about the one on Pulse.
Can you even buy E-Hex anymore on Ethereum?
Yeah, of course.
But not on Uniswap.
So did it I thought it got relisted back onto Uniswap.
I think it got relisted in some countries. I don't know if anyone in the chat can confirm that, but I know that in a lot of countries like Australia, it hasn't.
You can get it on
You can always buy it though. Like you can always find a way to buy it. So,
but
1 inch.
The more available it is.
1 inch.
Does it?
Maybe did Matcha go bankrupt? I heard that Matcha is having some financial troubles.
It was taken off. I don't think it was on. I had a look at Matcha during the week, and it wouldn't let me put Hex in. So fuck those guys.
By the way, I apologize to all viewers for how long I was just fumbling the mental bag of trying to work out my opinion on that Hex question. I should have I should have just deferred to like thinking about it later and not been like, oh, you're dumb, maybe this, maybe that, because I'm just not sure.
But it's sort of like back in the field, you know, we've got so much to play with. And it's just like, you know, which horse is going to be the winner? Really, isn't it?
Did I just hear a sound like someone entered the stream? No. Yeah, that's an interesting point, Sammy.
You know, I mean, I think it'll be, you know, your typical bull market with your typical FOMO. Oh, if something's going up, everyone's going to go get into it. And that's going to go up. And then something else go up and everyone's going to go get into that. You know, they'll follow the mad gains. That's what I think will happen.
Yes. You know, Sammy, before
and there's still the argument that when the FOMO part of the bull run happens, people are going to look on Ethereum. They're not going to naturally go look on Pulsechain. So there's the argument that in the you know, the FOMO part of the bull run, people might just be FOMOing into eHex, like the Ethereum version of Hex, and you know, not be looking. So it's hard to know what's going to happen. But look, if it all goes up, I'm happy.
Bro, of all the things that Johnny Chaos has ever said, because I think lots of the stuff that he talks about is on like a lot of it is unsubstantiated, right? Like it's, which is fine, right? Like you're allowed to talk about stuff that's fantasy. But one of the things that I think is that I agree with the most of all the things that he's ever said is this idea about the entrance and exit for capital. And so this idea that when capital comes flowing in, it's going to happen on Ethereum before Pulsechain. But also when capital's leaving, it leaves on Ethereum before Pulsechain. So, i.e., explaining why the eHex went down more as people were panic selling and shit, because it's just easier to get your eHex into dollars because it's already on Ethereum and Ethereum's very well connected into the fiat system. Mm-hmm. But then the reverse happens on the way as the capital comes flooding in during a bull market. It will be the first to receive the benefit of the capital coming in. Now, it's just a theory, but I like it. And I think that's worth considering and keeping an eye on. Before I forget, I just wanted to say, Sammy, a high level of praise. There was a stream that we did. I think it might have been the last one you were on. Shortly afterwards, there was a Twitter space by the Tang Gang, and Cookies specifically shouted you out, saying that what you had said on stream, out of all the things that we had all said and things that were discussed, topics that were raised and commentary that was made about various topics, he specifically singled you out as having like the most noteworthy and astute commentary on these specific topics and gave you a mad shout out. And I think that's like a high level of praise.
That's cool.
For someone who definitely is intelligent and sort of is, I wouldn't say he's reluctant to give praise because he gives praise where praise is due, but he doesn't hand out praise easily is what I'm trying to say. And I wanted to tell you before I forgot.
Oh, thanks, Tangent. I appreciate you passing that message on. And you know, I learned a lot from you guys. That's where I get all my knowledge from, and everyone in the community. And yeah, I'm glad I sounded smart. I'm a good actress. So how's the bear market treating you guys? I mean, we must have hit the bottom, yeah?
I hope so.
Inky,
that's what people keep asking me. They keep asking me. So they're like they're a little bit. People are like a little bit scared to ask me.
Are these no coiners?
Like family
or family?
No, family. They're just like, how's the crypto stuff going? Like they expect they sort of expect you to be distraught and it's like no, I'm buying. Like I'm you know, that's not financial. I'm just saying that's sort of what I say.
I saw a tweet.
DCA time.
I apologize. I've forgotten who it was from because I want to shout them out. But it said, it was okay. I'll try to remember who it was, but it said, it might have been Trayvon. I think it was Trayvon James. He said, when the thought enters your head, holy shit, what if crypto never goes up ever again? It's time to buy. It's time. No, he said it's time to go all in. He said it's when you think to yourself, holy shit, what if crypto never goes up ever again? It is time to go all in. And I read that and I was like, facts, major facts.
I've been this month.
Shout out Trayvon James. I've been critical of him in the past. Major facts, that tweet.
Give us a thumbs up in the chat if you've had thoughts to that effect in the last few weeks or even this year. If you've had that thought this year, I've definitely had that thought in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Definitely had that thought a number of times. It's like, what if this shit never goes? It's like I always flick that thought away. I don't sit there and ponder it for too long.
Same. Yes. Yeah. It enters my head. I don't dwell on it, but I think to myself what if, because of the whole, this narrative. So this is the strongest way of wording this. This is the bear, the ultra bear, perma bear, crypto will never go up ever again case. Because crypto has always existed, its entire lifespan has effectively been in a macro bull. And we've never had, it's just the stock market's just basically been going up the entire time that crypto has existed. We've never seen how it performs in a real heavy economic uncertainty, effectively the kinds of conditions or worse than what it was, when it was created or why it was created in that global financial crisis. And so someone could say, well, you don't know that it will do this thing where it keeps having new cycles if we go into this macro carnage. But the counter to that is exactly what this shit was designed for. It was designed to be the safe haven asset for that exact shit fuckery that wrecks economies. So we just have to see.
Exactly. I saw something about that the other day too. It was what it was designed for. And, now it's actually got a purpose because the whole world economy is up shit, Bill. And just in regards to Trayvon, Trayvon actually made a really good tweet about, if you really want to make money, now is the time to be making that money. So
absolutely.
Now is to be thinking about the future and buying that shit up.
This is where the legacy wealth is built. This part of the market is where when everyone else is just absolutely bailing out, panic selling, being maximum FUD, maximum negative sentiment, that's how you build legacy wealth. And and by the way, I just want to $36 for it's $36 for a million PLSX.
For a million PLS.
PLS.
Yeah.
Hang on. I think.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're right. So it's $10. It's less than $10 for a million PLSX.
It's $36. Yeah. So it's $9.
You're right.
$9.32 for a million PLSX.
Dude, that's so fucked.
$35.80 for a million Pulse.
That's so fucked.
I mean, that's some people. Yeah, some people say it's fucked, and some people might say, "Hey, this is opportunity to fatten the bags."
Oh, it's definitely opportunity.
And I think the point of what you guys were saying before about thinking that, this is never, are we ever coming out of this bear, or are we ever going to have higher prices? The fact that we're so in this space, but a lot of people who are in this space aren't in it as much as we are mentally, right? And some of those people are going to sell the bottom. They're gonna get disheartened and they're gonna sell. Once everyone's finished selling, maybe we can start going up. Hey, and we're gonna have sell-offs on the way up. We're gonna have sell-offs on the way up. It always happens, but they're going to be less than what they were on the way down from the top. That's for sure.
But for our community, I reckon, a few of the people I've been speaking to in America, say the US election, will factor in on the entire crypto market price-wise. I suppose that involves confidence in the market and confidence in a president that can lead the economy over there, because they're like the rest of the world up shitfield. And also Richard Hart court case in November, or court case call. Any news from that could be the bullish or bearish. That could also affect the prices within our ecosystem.
Well, I mean, just with the election, Sammy, you would think that the Fed will not be aggressively putting up interest rates, in the lead up to the election. I think they try to be neutral. They don't want to affect an outcome of an election by, putting up rates and hurting the voters. So I think they try and stay out of it. Generally, they try and stay out of it in Australia. Do you think they're going to put up rates in Australia?
I think we've been watching. Have we been going up at all? I haven't been I don't watch the news.
Not in recent months. Like I think we've had maybe 3 months where it's been on hold. But before that, it was just like month after month after month of it just went up.
Right?
It didn't stop.
I got friends who couldn't sleep at night, mate. I know it was going up, but sometimes you got to just like chill out and take a seat back. But I know Elon Musk had said, so I saw it, that house prices, the housing market will start going up next spring, and that's the US spring. So I'd say the first or second quarter of next year, I guess.
There's so many houses for sale, though. In Australia, there's so many houses for sale. So many.
But there's still a shortage. There's a rental crisis in nearly every state.
But
there's no builders out of work.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying as far as houses on the market for sale, like I'm not sure about houses for rent. Maybe there's a rental shortage, but there's definitely houses for sale on the market. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the people selling their houses on the market are former or who soon to be former landlords getting out, especially in Victoria. Like I'm not sure if you're familiar with what has gone on in Victoria over the last 2 or 3 years, but they've added a lot more compliance, and they've also sort of reduced or lowered your rights as a landlord. Like you used to be able to ask, like for example, you used to be able to give someone notice to leave the property. Like if they didn't sign the lease, if they were finished their lease, right? And you're like, hey, I want to get my house back. You used to be able to ask them to leave. You had to give them like 90 days or like 2 or 3 months notice, and then they would have to leave. You're actually not allowed to do that now unless you have like a legitimate reason. And the legitimate reason can be I'm selling the property. It can be I need to do renovations. But the thing is that if you ask someone to leave, it could be I want to live in my own house. But if you ask someone to leave and they leave, then you're not allowed to re-rent it out for 6 months. That's a new law they brought in Victoria.
Really?
Yeah. It's like if you ask someone to leave, you're not allowed to rent out your own house for 6 months. If you do, you could you risk getting a fine of $10,000. That's like new rules they put in Victoria in the last like 2 years.
I didn't even know that, but I know that they were getting stricter.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just doesn't surprise me that people like investors would be selling out their homes.
But 43, you got to think like
home. Why would you be an investor if?
Exactly, but you got to think it's like this mofo. If you look at the comments, RuneSkees, this dude who was a $9 million sacrificer. He capitulated yesterday. He's down from 220 billion pulsex to 62 billion pulsex. So, times are tough. He's taken a few gains when he can. and he's still leaving a little bit of cream. But it's the same with the housing. Some dudes just can't afford these rate rises. If they've got 10 properties,
Is that too? But you know what? The thing is that if you have a rental shortage, what you want to do, I mean, I would have thought what you want to do is make sure there's more investors in the market, because investors are going to have rental houses for rent.
That makes sense.
But yeah, there's hey, I've got a clip from something I watched during the week, which I thought was really good. So I just want to play it and maybe get your comments, and maybe the people in the chat can comment as well on what you think of what's being said.
But before you play it, can I just quickly throw in, you know how I was talking about that Trayvon tweet? It was from before this gigantic gigapump on Bitcoin. So like, because you know how most people change their sentiment depending on the colors of the candles. So it's important to note that he wasn't just getting bullish because of this recent pump. It was prior to that.
Okay.
You know, there's a claim that nobody cares about Jeffrey Epstein because it's this many years later and we've all moved on. Yeah, that's completely untrue. And we know that it's true because if you start talking about Jeffrey Epstein, the engagement goes up. So you have these fictions, like, you know, that are put out by mainstream media or traditional news desks, which is, and nobody cares about that story. Well, that you can see from social media that that's not true, from the internet. So the internet is constantly providing an ability to check whether or not these claims from inside the structure are true. And Jeffrey Epstein is an example of what I've called an anti-interesting phenomenon.
What's that?
Well, an anti-interesting thing is something that would normally be fascinating. Imagine, for example, you had a story where you could get a Pulitzer Prize for breaking it. Everybody cares. You sell papers like hotcakes, blah, 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 and nobody wants to report on it. And it's like right there. You could just ask the dumbest questions and it would, like, New York Times says disgraced financier. Well, tell me, did you find his prime broker? Did you find the forms? Did you go to his offices in Vallard House? No, nobody does ever. The story is interesting, and it's very different than being interesting.
Which would suggest more collusion, more coordination.
Hello? I mean, see, this is one of the most uncomfortable things. I think there was a time when people said collusion or coordination, the presumption was, well, that's pretty far out there. We now know, like post Elon Musk's $44 billion adventure at Twitter, that there are these coordinating groups, coordinating social media with the intelligence community or with the Department of Homeland Security or with the State Department. We now know that we're living in an orchestrated, curated, choreographed world. And we can't know it officially, but we all know it if we want to know it, which is hysterical. Now we have to talk about, well, are you a conspiracy theorist? Like, I read the Slack messages. I read the emails. What are you even talking about now?
Sam Bankman-Fried, currently being recharged with witness tampering as well. That, to me, fresh charges, releasing, even though he was told he couldn't get in touch with the press, I think hundreds of phone calls to the press, leaked his ex-girlfriend, allegedly leaked his ex-girlfriend's diary entries, so on and so forth. And, you know, this is a guy that some of my friends were flown to go and see on his island, his portion of an island.
Yeah, his portion. It's very different.
Yeah, okay, for very different reasons as well. There seems to be, and you hear about, they believe they're above the law. There was this really cool documentary on Netflix called The Murdaugh Murders, and it was this small town, big family, lots of money, and the kids ran rampant, right? Classic, like silver spoon aristocracy bullshit. But when it gets scaled up this much more, Sam Bankman-Fried, the biggest alleged financial crime since
Bernie
Madoff.
Okay.
Yeah. Allegedly tampering with witnesses, allegedly leaking his ex-girlfriend's diary entries.
And?
Do the rules not apply to everybody?
Certainly they don't.
Why?
We stopped prosecuting all sorts of types of people. You know, look, we stopped holding hearings. I grew up in a world where we had the Church Committee, the Pike Committee looking at our own intelligence services. We had Watergate hearings. We had tobacco hearings. We had Iran-Contra hearings. Do you know how many hearings we need right now? Where are these things? It's ridiculous. We've got weird stuff about UFOs with people making the craziest allegations. Look, this is just not normal. We're in totally weird, uncharted territory.
That's from a podcast by a guy called Chris Williamson, and he did an interview with that's Eric Weinstein.
Eric Weinstein.
Yeah,
Was it?
yeah.
Is he a crypto guy?
Not really. No, he's like he's a part of he's the guy who coined the term the intellectual dark web. I think he's the guy who coined it. But what do you reckon, guys? Is everything just a big psyop? It sort of feels like a lot of stuff we're getting psyoped these days. Like the like in Australia, I feel like they're psyop us into voting yes at the referendum. For example, that's one example.
That's never going to happen.
No, not going to happen.
Because for all the public virtue signaling that people do, once they're in a booth where they are not held accountable to their fake beliefs that they fake hold and fake propagate, they will be the racist pieces of shit that they actually are.
True.
And also, but for me, I'm also going to be voting the same way as those racist pieces of shit for ethical reasons. So I think everyone's vote will be the same, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Mine is anti-woke and is ethical, and theirs will be like racist and unethical, but ultimately
mine's different than yours then, dude. Mine's different than yours. Mine's not because of I think
same way, right? Like as in, so we're all voting the same way for different reasons.
Yeah. So my reason is very, very simple. We do not need more bureaucracy, and that's all that this is. More bureaucracy.
True.
Yeah.
That's
and
my only reason.
Mine is anti-woke. My reasoning is anti-woke, and because I think it's important, it's ethical to fight against woke nonsense, woke absurdities, and then you've got the people that are just like flat out racist.
I agree. Well, I didn't even read my paperwork when I got it about the referendum. I knew that there was one because I was thinking, because I'm going to Sydney for the meetup, that's actually when it is. And thank you for Par Excellent for posting the link for postal votes. But yeah, then my mum rang me and told me all about it. I go, oh yeah, and then she told me what the situation was and what I should, why I should be for or why I should be against. So she settled the score for me. And under those reasons, that will be my vote, and that's all there is to it. But she was fuming at the mouth, blah 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 this and blah 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 that. So that's what I know about it. But there's far too much bureaucracy. Everyone's hiding behind screens, and you just want to call the bank, you have to wait in the queue. You go to the bank, you have to wait in the queue. Just to speak to someone's face nowadays is hard. Everyone hides behind something, and the governments hide.
Well, I mean, you'd be voting if you vote yes, and they bring in like the body, the voice. It's like what? Okay, so what actual power are they going to have? And that group can't be you or me. So we're excluded from that, right? We're excluded from being in that. I pay taxes. Why should I be excluded from any body, based on my race? So I think there's that. So, but even if it was like,
it's racist.
But even
if it's actually racist.
Yeah. But even if it wasn't right, even if it was like just open to anyone, I would still be against it. Because I don't want another layer. Like, I don't want another group of people that need to tick a box. Not that that's the way it's going to be structured, but even the fact that they would be there, like giving I just think that if you want to make a group of people that give their opinion, then make a group of people that give their opinion. You don't need to be have some formal constitutional recognition of that particular point. And by the way, I'm all for constitutional recognition. If this referendum had been worded in a different way, I would have been all for it. Yeah. All for it. Very happy for constitutional recognition, not happy with the model.
Yeah, I think Russell Brand says the shit best when he says it would be very easily identifiable if the intentions of these certain things were for the people and for the betterment of humanity. It would just be obvious, right? You could see that there would a genuine desire, and the people who are presenting it would be able to fully defend exactly how they're doing it, because it would be legit. But it never is, and that's why it requires all the just like
bullshit,
fake bullshit, like all the trickery and all the omissions and working things in together and all of this stuff, everything.
And the cost of having a referendum.
Oh, it's so expensive. Holy shit, it's so expensive.
Why can't they do it on the blockchain?
How much is it?
Dude, it costs so much money.
It's so much money to staff these polling centers, print out all the paperwork.
I think it might be tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, when they could do it online. Like, seriously, they've got to get their shit together in their security. Do it on a blockchain or something, an unhackable blockchain, and get it done online. Why waste more taxpayers'
75 million.
So that's a lot of money.
$75 million.
Not that bad. That's actually quite cheap.
Dude,
I'm not fussed about. Dude, I'm not fussed. Look, there's 25 million of us in Australia.
Imagine
so for every person in Australia, it's costing $3. Like, come on.
Still, money could be spent in other areas much better. You could just do it online.
I'm not too fussed about that. I think you need to not be scared to put on a referendum. I just wish they'd put more thought into the question and made it it would have been good if this could have got up, if it had been worded better and not gone for so much of a land grab. Excuse the pun, but you know what I mean? If they hadn't have tried to go so hard, this might have actually gone up, and it would have been a really goodwill, nice thing for Australia to have Aboriginal people recognised in the Constitution. But the way they did it is it's destined to fail.
Bullshit. This is that doublespeak bullshit where they name it one thing that sounds really positive, and then ultimately it's not what it says on the tin.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just reading. So I just started reading. No, you're right. And the way it's worded, you don't know what they're gonna then establish immediately after. And then under the guise and say, oh, hey, that we had a referendum and you guys voted this in, so it's
you guys wanted this. Don't blame us. You guys begged for that shit. And that's the gaslighting that's bound to come afterwards.
And because we're all so distrusting of authority since the last few years, especially the last. Australians are, I think, as a group, we're pretty we will question politics of things in Australia. We'll question it. We don't just accept everything, except for those 2 years where everyone got psyoped, psyoped hard, so fucking hard. Apart from those 2 years, but I think people have sort of.
You're talking about the 2 years in lockdown. Right.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Android 19.
Yeah, okay. But I hate to say it. I mean, I know it happened and stuff, but I truly feel blessed to be able to spend more time at home and not have to go out.
But
and
Sammy,
work from home and be with my family. But I know, look, there's other side to it. There's a big other side, and I know you're talking about more control of the government.
But Sammy, you can stay home. Like, you're saying that as if you're forced to go out when these lockdowns are not in play. Like, you don't have to go out when the lockdowns weren't
I
in
guess
play.
I'm just making light of a bad situation,
home, you know.
And I know what you're getting at. And I think it's more what you're saying is the government basically shoved in their face that they've got power over everyone, and now there's no limit to where they're going to stop.
It's just, I think that it's in some weird way, I think all of this stuff comes back to crypto. I know that maybe that's me just thinking in circles, but I can't help but think all of this shit is related to control and the money supply and infinitely inflating the money. And, you know, I've been listening to so many people speak this week about this. Do you know what you need to, I think it was a year ago, or maybe in February last year, Majid Nawaz. Have you guys heard of this person? Majid Nawaz. He was he was a guy who was like, he's a really smart dude. He was a guy who was born in the UK, and he was like radicalized, and it's Muslim, and not a terrorist or anything, but he was radicalized and ended up getting locked up in Egypt for, I think, 4 years, and then had a I think it was Amnesty International or one group helped him get out, and because that group helped him get out of jail in Egypt, he sort of had I'm not going to say come to Jesus moment, because he's still a Muslim, but like he sort of, it warmed his heart, and that not everyone is bad, and he sort of changed his views. And while he was in jail, he had time to talk to a lot of like philosophers and stuff while he was in jail. But he was on the Joe Rogan podcast about a year and a half ago, and he had one of the most interesting discussions. I think that everyone should go and listen to that podcast. It's Majid. It's spelled Maajid, Majid Nawaz, which is Nawaz. Joe Rogan. It was in February last year, February 2020, and he talks about that. Or he talks about how, in his opinion, all of this stuff is for control, and so that they can eventually bring in the digital central bank digital currencies.
Sounds legit.
And that's what all of this stuff was about, that very thing. So, you know, I think it's okay just to not be too concerned about it. If that's the way you see it, you know, I think that's fine. I've been listening to people, and it just makes me reflect upon what they're up to, what their end game is, and I can't help but think that control is the end game. I really think that control of the people is the end game. So we're going to find out in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, there was an interesting tweet that was like, it was that picture that they show where it shows what $1 trillion looks like if it was in $100 bills, and they're all stacked up, and it's got, for scale, it's got like a 747 aeroplane and massive buildings and a truck and that sort of thing. And then you've got $1 trillion of money, and it's just like pallets of money as far as the eye can see, basically. And and then they had used that image, which is reasonably well known, and said, once you can just like print money into infinity, what do you go and buy with infinite money? It's control. Like, you just can go and control everything, or try to.
Yeah. And, you know, when you can buy everyone, just buy everyone. It's simple. You just...
Simples.
I have another clip if you guys want to watch.
Yeah, sure.
Glad to get a question about this as a sea change, which is that our lives have become wall-to-wall uncertainty. We can't discern. If the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor today, we would spend 10 years discussing whether it was a false flag, whether it was actually the Japanese, whether there was any attack, whether it was a sound stage, whether it was a psyop, whether it was a, Right now, the main institutions of our society have abdicated their role for public-spirited adjudication of what is true based on expertise. And so what you're seeing is people coming to hate experts and coming to hate institutions because they're realizing that these institutions lie to them at a level that they've never considered unless they were Alex Jones fans to begin with. And so what you're having a large number of people waking up to the idea that, yeah, there really are organizations and working groups that determine what you hear from a multiplicity of venues. It's the same message relentlessly.
Do you think people are overly pattern matching that now?
Say more by what you mean.
That they're seeing conspiracy where there isn't, because the lack of faith in institutions.
Same person is saying that they see a conspiracy and they see no conspiracy. They have part of their head that remembers that conspiracy theorists are crazy people, and they've got part of their brain that remembers that normies who don't believe in conspiracies are crazy people, and they can't integrate those things. Right? They cannot figure out how are these things being coordinated. Am I a crazy person for seeing these patterns? Am I a crazy person for ignoring them, when they're unearthed? What you're seeing is a complete destruction of bedrock reality that if you weren't actually physically there. How do we know that these people actually met in a warehouse? Is this really a table, or is it just CGI? Was it green and we could superimpose wood onto it? Nobody knows what's true. And if you ask me, well, Eric, how are you dealing with this? I would say I'm failing. I'm just flat out failing, as are all of you. I'm just more honest about it. Some of you have an idea that you've got one lens, which is fix the money, fix the world. Bitcoin, that's the answer. Yeah, Bitcoin, rock on. But no, that's not the answer. Or somebody else says, I really think that we just need to be open and tolerant and realize it's a big world and we just have to give people their due. Well, that doesn't work either. You can't just let everything run riot. Or we have to go back to our institutions. With these people at the helm, are you kidding? We have to abandon our institutions. Wait, what are you saying? We're going to abandon our institutions? Do you know what that looks like? Nobody has an answer.
Fuck. He's right.
Dude, so such an interesting
shit, dude. I've definitely noticed that exact. I've definitely been through that where I'm like, you remember
the uncertainty.
Like I remember from back when I used to think that conspiracy theorists were fucking insane. And then that thing that he described where it's like, am I crazy for thinking, like, for seeing this as being legit, or am I crazy for ignoring it, or both? Like, and then it's both, and then you just continue with your life, right? Like you just continue on where you're like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to keep living life. Like it's pretty fucked.
Yeah. But then
it's just a new, almost like a new paradigm that we're living in. This uncertain. I don't know if you guys have felt it. I have felt this idea of this uncertainty.
Yeah, lack of
this
trust.
Feeling of uncertainty.
Lack of trust and disappointment. The more stories you hear and the more news you watch, and you just suffer from disappointment because society's been let down on a mass scale. Not only economically, but in so many other ways.
So there's this shit that you're like, that is for like that was for sure a scam. That was for sure like a fucking trick, right? Like the evidence comes out and it's just like so undeniable, right? So you're like, yes, that's legit. And then you're like, so why as a society, global society, are we doing nothing about this? And what
are we doing? Nothing, or does it feel like we're doing nothing?
There are some things that you would expect would just get like immediately handled, right? Like once the evidence comes out to a certain degree, you would be like this. You would expect this shit to just be immediately sorted, and that doesn't happen, or it's slower than it should, or doesn't happen at all. I don't know, man.
Kaz feels it.
I think I would need to rewatch that clip. That was very interesting. The way that he explained it.
Dude, no, don't go watch that clip. Go watch the whole. It's only 7 days old, so it's not like you're watching old material. It's the guy. His name is Chris Williamson. He's on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel, and if you just search Eric Weinstein on YouTube and Chris Williamson, it will be the first thing that comes up. And it's a 3-hour interview. I'm just, I haven't finished watching the whole thing. I've been watching it in pieces, but it's one of the, I love long form discussions like that with a smart person getting interviewed, and all these ideas, which are things that we've all been thinking about, we've all been pondering ourselves, and to hear a smart person talk about it, feels there's a little bit of a sense of vindication, like that.
Maybe AI, maybe a super intelligence would be able to come up with an answer. You know how he said no one's got a good answer for how you would actually do it?
Yeah. I mean, AI is going to add to the certainty before it takes away, before it makes things more clear, I think.
You mean add to the uncertainty?
Add to the uncertainty. Yeah,
that's a fair comment.
More certain. Dude, it's look, it's also exciting times. I mean, whenever I'm playing with AI, I get filled with like, oh, I could do so much stuff with this. Like, if you look at it like a tool, it's very exciting. If you want to see it through the lens of this, is going to be used to, fuck up humanity, then it gets scary quick. It doesn't help that you've got people like, smart people like Elon Musk saying, we should pump the brakes on this as well, because the brakes are not being pumped. It doesn't seem like the brakes are being pumped.
No, they're not. I've listened to enough. I've listened mainly at first to the AI ethicists who were the doom and gloom guys that think it's going to end the world. And then tried to find the voices that are on the other side of it, and they're just not as compelling. So I've tried actively to find the other side of it, and they're just not as convincing. The people that say that it's going to be fine, and most of the time, the shit they're saying has already been debunked by the doomers. So it's pretty scary.
I've also I've been listening to on Audible. I've been listening to Letters from a Stoic by Seneca. Have you heard of that?
No.
That book. That is. I love those books, about Stoicism, because they just remind you of little things you should be considering or doing, or just not doing. More importantly, things you shouldn't be doing. Like, for example, I was listening this morning, and there was one at some point. It said something along the lines of, "Don't engage in worthless, useless activities, just as a hobby, just to take the time. Make sure that what you're doing is a useful endeavor, a useful endeavor." And it's
bro,
I do way too much of that.
That blows my mind whenever anyone says, "Oh, I don't want to retire because I would just be bored. I wouldn't know what to do with myself." I'm like, fucking what? Do you what have you fucking looked outside? There's so much amazing shit to go and do. What the fuck? Like, are you tripping? Like, what do you mean you want to keep working so that you've got something to do? That's crazy talk. And so, yeah, there's heaps of cool shit to do. So the idea that someone would do something as the term pastime, my pastime, to pass time, what? Dude, what? That is crazy talk. No one should ever be doing anything to burn time. There's heaps of cool shit to do that there's not enough time for.
No, but he goes hard in this. He's like I think he was talking about someone who had reviewed a piece of literature, and he was just hanging shit on the person, just saying what a waste of fucking time it was that this guy reviewed this literature. It's like it didn't bring any value whatsoever. And it's pretty funny. Like he was just arguable. Like, if you're going to do something, no, he's just saying if you're going to do something, it needs to be worthwhile. Like,
but he might not be seeing that there might not be like a direct, like that one can be something that could be indirect, right? So I don't think that just because something doesn't have a direct benefit to humanity right now that you can point to and be like, this is the benefit, that it should just be thrown in the bin, because then we wouldn't have the arts, right? So I think he's maybe going a bit too far.
Well, I think we should also,
and some of that shit's subjective as well, right? It's like it doesn't have value to him.
Yeah, I think we should also consider that this stuff was like, 2,000 years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So this is not in the context of knowing like all the things we know that have happened in the last 2,000 years. This is like them knowing what they knew back then.
Yeah.
And in the tradition of that. So maybe that was good advice back then, because what else? I mean, it's not like you had all these tools back then. Do you know what I mean? Like what? It's not like you had all these, AI tools like we have now. You didn't have computers. You didn't have anything like this. Didn't have like, I don't even think they had many written texts, because these guys, I think, like the spoken word. I think they preferred spoken word over written text, even though these are letters from a Stoic. So I'm not sure if he dictated them to someone else or what.
I personally like the theory that nothing is a waste of time, because tying into my whole thing about how our only job, our purpose, the meaning of life, is to be a point of conscious observation within the universe. So it doesn't actually matter what you do, even if it is what someone else would consider to be a waste of time. You're fulfilling your role to observe the universe unfold, and that's all you ever have to do. So you can't fuck up. You can't fuck up. You can't waste time. It's just a theory. It's just a theory that I like.
That's a theory.
It takes the pressure off, right? It means you don't have to stress out that you didn't get enough done during the day, or that you're not achieving enough with your life, or that your friends are doing better shit than you, or any of that shit. It just takes.
Can I take the other side of the, just to be the devil's advocate, not because I necessarily believe any of this. So you could argue, right, that the fact that you actually got a chance to be alive, you were doing everyone who didn't get an opportunity to live a full life a disservice by not doing your absolute utmost to better the greater good for everyone in the best way that you can.
Like disrespecting your ancestors. Disrespecting the thousands of people that had to
not only them, also the millions of sperm that didn't get to the egg. Like, think about the nations the nations
That's
of
a lot,
people.
that's a lot of wanking.
But it's subjective, right? So if you go down that line of reasoning that you owe it to the people that came before you, your ancestors, and all the people that didn't get an opportunity to exist. Even if you agree with that, it's like, by what subjective framework do you say that you are doing them justice or not? Like, some would argue.
I think it's self-respect. If you want to be something in life, be something. Do your best, be your best. But how many people are deadbeat degenerates? How many deadbeat dads you see? How many people on Centrelink doing nothing, not giving a fuck do you see? There's plenty of those people too.
These are still subjective judgments, yeah, over how someone lives their life. Like, so.
Yes. Yeah.
Since we're experts on the matter.
As we sit here for 2 hours talking about random shit that may or may not have anything to do with crypto.
Yeah. Maybe I'm subconsciously defending what we're doing here as to bring it back to Hex. Did Hex Scout ever launch?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't think so.
But I thought they did like a public, a private launch, and they had that party with the photo with all the people. That surely that was like right when it was about to launch. But I don't think it has. Like, as in, I guess we just check the website. Eh?
I'm not sure if it launched, but
not yet.
It's been interesting watching a Troper and P die.
Oh yeah, that's been nuts.
I've been watching. Nuts, bro. I've been quite happy with my little gains I've been making. When I got in, and it's something to do in the bear market. I didn't put a shitload in, but it's something fun, and something to do, and it looks good for Pulsechain too. It's something exciting that everyone's involved in.
I wish you guys the best of luck with that stuff.
I'm not, dude. I'm not.
And I'm not saying that
it by accident.
No, I'm not
in that shit by accident.
I'm not saying that to be a smart ass either. I'm legit, I'm honestly saying I hope all that stuff goes well. I'm
in it for the pump.
I'm not involved.
And I'm honest, that's the only reason I'm in it. I'm in it for the pump and the dump. It's fun.
Ideally, you get out before the dump, Sammy. Get out before the dump.
But who I really like and I follow, and I've gotten more out of him after I got an 8x on one of his calls. B Roots. I freaking really, really like B Roots' stuff. And he's a big P-die dude, Troper. He gets into all of them, and he's swearing on this shit.
I shouted him out in my stream that I did on this channel earlier today in terms of being someone who has done a lot because his follower base is multi-chain. He's not just purely followed or majority followed by Pulsechain people. And so he has actually done a shitload for bringing attention and adoption and traffic to Pulsechain from other communities. And so that's really positive. And then he gets he cops heat for, talking about coins that are not Hex or whatever. But then rather than saying, okay, well, F you guys, I'm going to go and be a shill on some other chain where they don't give me as much heat, he persists with, staying dominantly on Pulsechain and looking for gems on Pulsechain and this whole P-die thing and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm glad to have him on the team. I'm glad he's a part of Pulsechain. It's good that I have always maintained, I've never changed my tune on green candles are the best advertisement by far. So if you want there to be at least one coin that is pumping like shit, now we've got several. There are coins on Pulsechain that are absolutely pumping like shit. People have been making 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 X's over the last few weeks or so. And surely that has to start to get attention to outside of Pulsechain and then outside of crypto as well, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Somi's post as well. Somi's getting around a bit. He's the second biggest streamer on the whole Pulsechain apart from Richard Hart. Gold Key did a...
Yeah, I saw that thing from Gold
Hey,
Key.
guys.
I think that's
Jack,
all-time
how are
views.
ya?
Hey, Jexar. I think that's
Running a little bit late.
views, though.
That's
Sammy,
all right.
Was that all-time views, like total, like cumulative
Total views. Yeah. Richard Hart, then our friend
So-
Somi, your friend Somi, came in number 2 streamer in the whole ecosystem.
It'll sound like I'm defending Crypto 7 because I'm a co-host on his channel, but I think it's so looking at cumulative views means that you're not seeing which channel is the like most engaged currently, right? So like, let's use the extreme example. RH doesn't stream at all. Not live anyway. He's done 2 pre-recorded videos recently. And his channel's like right at the very, very top of that list. So if you were to say which channel is the one that's like getting the most current engagement, it's certainly not that channel. That channel should be at the fucking bottom. No disrespect to Richard. I love Richard.
What if
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What if
I'm just
going
saying.
back to watching old content?
Sorry, Jexer, your mic's a little bit low.
Hang on.
I think it was Gold Key made a list of like.
Yeah, I've got it up. But I've got to
So
gain little
it's
gain.
reasonable. It's reasonable. And he was transparent about how he made the list. He said this list is based on this. That's fine. But
Yeah.
I think I think Crypto 7 was number 15 on the list. I think he should actually be quite a bit higher than that if you were looking at
Crypto
like,
7 is number
current-
17.
Oh, the list must like auto update then. When I looked at it, it was 15.
All right.
So maybe it's like maybe it's got an API that actually looks
All right,
on Twitter.
you guys, name the top 5 streamers apart from Richard Hart and your friend Somi. Who's
Oh,
next?
damn it.
Who's next in line?
I saw I'm sort of cheating because I saw the list.
Dollar
I could
cost
probably-
crypto.
Yeah. Can you guys
Yes.
hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a little bit low, but I can hear you. Yeah.
There. Yeah, I'd say Coffee would have to be up there, wouldn't he?
Dollar cost crypto is next, and then crypto coffee. Who's after him?
Let me think. Matty Allen.
Oh,
No.
Maddie was up there. Not
It depends on the volume of content as well,
it's
really.
cumulative views. Yeah, see that's
Yeah.
that's another good point, Jexar. This is all tying into what I was talking about. Is like it's not like if you just pound out like heaps of videos, like Somi puts out multiple videos a day, right?
Yeah.
So his view count per video could be low, but then cumulative views then end up being high. How long the channel's been around for? So the older your channel, the more you're going to move up that list. So I'm not denying that this is the metrics, but I just don't think it's the best way to kind of like rate which channel is like the.
But it's interesting because I love watching your friend Sami and Dollar Cost Crypto. They're one of my favorites, my go-to. And K4K was next, and then Discourse Syndicate, and then RH Max before Matty Allen. Who's RH Max?
Yeah. He's coming on tomorrow.
He's on the stream,
Thursday.
Yeah.
Is he?
He's on
Dollar
Thursday.
Cost Crypto is a G. I like his content.
Yeah, I do too.
The big difference is Somi, he's very aware of
Corey
how the
Costa.
of how the algorithm works as well. So he takes his into bite-sized pieces where he does, say, 15-minute videos, which is ideal. And even for we run for 2 hours. How many people are going to sit back and watch 2 hours straight and watch it through? Unless they're sitting here live, most of them will come in and out. They won't sit there and watch the whole thing. Whereas Somi stuff, it's in bite-sized chunks. You go for a drive in the car to the shops or something like that, you can watch a Somi video or something like that. So it's very easy to consume when it's shorter, and it's not live either. So you've got to take all of those things into.
A lot of people, I think, who will listen to this show in the coming days are doing some sort of work where they can listen to it.
Yeah.
And shout out to those people. If you guys are people who listen on the replay, we
Shout out,
appreciate you.
homies.
Shout out.
Yo.
Shout out.
Hey, do you know we made the list? We're actually at number 60.
Oh, Sammy,
And-
you just reminded me
Are
of
we
something
really?
else.
Hang on, are we on the
Discourse
list?
Syndicate is multiple shows as well. So
yeah.
that's another thing that kind of messes with this stat.
I know.
When you've got a channel that has multiple shows on it, it's like also going to be skewed. So Discourse Syndicate was on the list. Was DeFi down on actually on the list? I didn't see it on there.
Yeah, DeFi
they must have added it.
number 60.
What,
and
what
the lovely,
what site
beautiful
is this?
crypto class isn't far behind DeFi
And
down
what's
under
that-
at 62.
what's that site? Sammy, what's that site?
Do you want me to send you? I'll send you the tweet link.
It was a tweet by Gold Key. What about Doz's? What about Doz's show? DeFi with Dozer, or like whatever it's called. Is it DeFi with Dozer? Is it on there?
I'm just having a look.
It is the DeFi, the Aussie DeFi happy hour on Friday, which everyone's invited to.
It's not on there. It's not on there yet.
No, Dozer had his own channel for a bit.
Yeah, he still does, and he streams it to both. He streams that show to both of his channels.
Yeah, I'll post it in our chat so you guys can have a look.
Yeah, cool.
I'll put it in our chat so everyone else in chat can have a look.
Yeah, I'm one of these people while I'm working away on the computer. I like to have something going in the background as well, so I sort of absorb a bit of content while doing other things. I'd like to think that makes me more productive, but truth is probably probably not.
I just eating my dinner and listening to something.
I end up blanking it out, and then I'll be doing something, and then I'll be like, "Wait, shit! I need to rewind this video basically to the start." Like
that's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got RH Max on Thursday.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's coming on Thursday with Jackson and me, and we're going to talk about privacy and security for degens.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the dial shifted a little bit from what we used to do and how we used to look after things. So yeah, it'll be good to have a little chat about that and give people some hints and tips on what you can do to stay safe now, because it's changed a little bit and it's moving so fast at the moment. If you want to keep up with what's going on Pulsechain, you are inevitably taking a little bit more risk than what we usually would recommend.
And the other thing that I think it's wise for us always to have the perspective when it comes to privacy and security. Like we live in countries which they generally don't drag you out of your home, by your feet and chuck you in a dungeon somewhere, right? Not that any of us are doing anything wrong, but generally they don't do that sort of thing in Australia and let's say the US, right? But there are countries out there where you are committing a crime by interacting with this stuff. So I like to know that there are ways to do things which limit the risk for people living in those countries. I like to know about those things myself, and I like to be able to share that stuff with people if they need that help. I think it's important for us to know about this stuff, and privacy and security is not a crime.
No.
Yeah,
like
true.
Being on the internet and just being extra careful about how you do things and be privacy focused and being careful about security, none of that's a crime. And in some people around the world need that just so that they don't get thrown in a dungeon somewhere. So that's why it's so important.
Yeah. So you're very big on the privacy aspect of things, aren't you? I know you take security seriously, but the perception I get of you is you tend to spend a lot more time on privacy type situations. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I like to know about it. I like to be, I may not need to use it per se, and I may not always use it depending on what it is, but there are certain there are certain things that you're just better off. I feel like you're just better off being a bit careful about,
both are really important, but I believe that privacy needs more of us to push it, because security kind of sells itself. People understand why security is important. It's like, you don't do it, your shit gets fucked. But with privacy, you need to explain to people, you need to educate people on why it's important, and it's not immediately apparent. And also, people tend to choose convenience over privacy, so they're willing to make that compromise. Whereas security is kind of not negotiable, right? You don't do it, it's game over.
Yeah, that's true.
In some respects. So I think both are really important, but privacy sort of needs more people to step up.
I guess the point is that for us, yes, that's the case. For the people in countries where, it's they could be in danger, their privacy is inextricably linked with their security, their personal security. Because if they're leaking IP addresses to, the powers that be in that particular jurisdiction, that could lead to them, people busting through their front door. And that's why, I think things like Tor are a great thing. And that's why...
I just don't know how you would trust any tech to that level, right? Like, as in... Because even Tor has been known to not be completely 100%.
It's not, no.
Yeah, I think you've got to have multiple layers of things, and I don't think you can trust any one service. And let's face it, look, if someone really, like a three-letter agency, really wants to come up,
I was just about to say that, Jex. I was going to say you have to actually hope that the threat actor is not of that level. Otherwise, you're basically fucked.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
What was interesting?
If you've been targeted, you're in trouble.
Yeah. I assume people have been sort of paying attention to what's been going on with all the recent cases with Coin and who else was it? I can't remember who the other one was recently as well. But they've taken chain analytics companies to task, saying that they can't scientifically prove the accuracy of that software, which has been good. That's been a real win.
Massive, dude. Massive. That was massive.
It now throws into question the legitimacy of all those black box tools that they're using. And look, I'm sure they're able to scrape a lot of data and try and piece it all together, but it really is a bit of voodoo that they're using there.
So they're in a difficult situation.
They're getting to a very high statistical likelihood, but they can't prove it. Not only can they not prove it, but they don't want to release their algorithms and their So it was reasonable for that guy to say, like, if you're going to use this against me in court, you have to show us how it works.
They're in the difficult situation of either needing to give up their intellectual property.
They're fucked. They're fucked now.
Or just
they're fucked, because if none of this stuff is 100%, right? It does by necessity involve assumptions for them to it depends what you've done. Like, if your shit is like very simple, then they might be able to be like, look, we can trace this shit directly on chain. So there's in some instances there would be versions of chain analysis for very simplified things where you can just prove it. You can just be like, look, it's on chain. But beyond that, once they start doing this like mathematical analysis of the network, then it becomes probabilities. Like, there's
it's not only that, it's also the fingerprinting that they can do, like on a network level. Like, what are the headers? Like, what's being logged? What access to server logs do they have? What access do they have to Etherscan server logs? Like, which IP addresses are going to, which browsers, which versions of browsers are going, all these things in the log files of servers. What access do they have? What can they put together and say, hey, this like for example, this version of the browser has come and checked this Etherscan address from this IP address this many times. Can we say with any degree of certainty that the person who's checking this comes from, and even if you're using a VPN, can they get access to the VPN provider? Do they keep, maybe the VPN we don't know we don't know what we don't know. So VPN providers, we don't know whether they actually keep logs or not. So let's say they do keep logs. Let's say they don't keep logs. Maybe they don't keep logs, but they allow a third party to keep logs. Like we don't know these things. There's things that you don't know. So, and we also don't know what access they have.
But they all come down to assumptions as well. So if you, they might be able to see a wallet on an exchange, but once it leaves there, they can't. They can see the flow of funds, but they can't prove that you own those addresses.
No.
So they can't 100% say that that's yours. They can, like you say, get statistically, it could be 99.999% they're sure of it, but they can't prove it. So I think that's the sticking point.
And that would be quite a costly, I would have thought it'd be quite a costly, to go to the degree that I'm talking about, where it's beyond the chain analysis and actually going to maybe different jurisdictions. You would need law enforcement involved and, to be able to ask for records and actually have them supply the records. Usually, I mean, it depends where these, I mean, there's so many things that would go into it. I don't think the world is connected. Different countries do not have these agreements, which are, it's not easy for them, for law enforcement in Australia, for example, to go to Malaysia, for example, and get records easily. That's a tough thing. That's not an easy thing.
Yeah, I think there's the unless they're part of the Five Eyes, then I think they've obviously got agreements and things like that.
Yeah, and that's gonna. I think that's
and
gonna.
And Australia happens to be part of the Five Eyes. Yeah.
Fucking brown eyes.
So hey, Jexa, I'm gonna in 30, I think it's 31 days or 30 days, I'm gonna get to finally come meet you.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I still got to get my shit together and book some accommodation and a few other things. I've got flights. I'm definitely coming. I've got flights, but I just got to organise a few other things. Yeah. But
hey, Funding Jim asked me. He was in the comments of my stream earlier today, and it was like, "Are we going to meet up in Australia?" But I thought he said that he was only going East Coast.
I think he's only going in September.
Yeah. So he's doing it. He's going to be there before.
And not at the time of the meetup. Okay.
The meetup.
Yeah.
But I actually got a message from KDP, and she's had some things change up in what she's doing, and she might be coming now. So, boy, she's single, she's smart, and she's going to be at the meetup. So, if you need a ticket, DM me, and I will make sure you get one.
So, have you managed to get hold of Somi? Is Somi coming?
No, Somi did write me a big essay of why he can't come. Yeah. And that's cool. He's a busy dude. We also invited Adam Stokes, and he didn't say he was either coming or not coming. We just sent him the link for the ticket, said we'd love to see him and meet him. There'll be heaps of Mexicans wanting to meet him. So we'll see if he comes. But yeah, so Friday night we got the Occidental Hotel. We got around about 50 people. The cruise, we've got about 40 people. The breakfast is only just quiet. It's 15 people getting together for breakfast. So it's going to be a bit of fun, a bit of laughs. And, in a bear market, it's good to have that people contact. We're not gatekeeping you. You can come and meet people, talk about whatever you want to talk about in crypto, make some friends. That's the whole best part about this community is
square up some of your crypto Twitter beefs.
Yeah, square up those. But you know what? The Aussies are not too bad. I don't really have many problems with Aussies. It's probably because they're mostly in arm's length. But I'm really looking forward to meeting my girlfriend Ollie, who's a hexagon from Adelaide. Since someone put it on to me to help out with some crypto stuff, we talk a lot. When we talk for hours, and we're very similar. And also Klaz and Doza, just can't wait to meet you. I'm really looking forward to it now.
So it's all booked. It's all done.
Hell yeah! Everything's done, paid for. And going ahead.
People can't come or they can still come.
Yeah, they can still buy tickets.
What do they do if they want to buy a ticket? They have to contact you.
Yeah, they can just contact me. If anyone, if you want to contact Tangent, or I'm sure if you guys get a message, yell out, and I'll just pop the link over to the ticket. Easy, and you can just choose. You don't have to come to everything. You can just choose which ones you want to come to.
Should be good times.
Yeah, should be fun.
It would have been so nice to come up, but as
well,
said,
you still can come. You come for one night.
It's more just the time in my life right now. It's a bit difficult. I
know it is hard with little kids. It really is. Yep. But there'll be other times. Hopefully, next time we get together, the price is going up, baby. Like, I want to see people happy. I want to see them enjoying their mad gains, and we'll do something really cool. But probably not until we see a recovery.
I actually think that I need to meet. We've met Sammy, but I think I need to meet you guys. I feel like I would want to talk to you blokes. Like, I'd want to just sit down and have a meal with you, with the crew.
Yeah.
It will almost certainly happen one day, bro.
Yep.
One day. As I say, it's going to happen one day on a yacht in the Mediterranean, one day.
Yep, I'm holding you to
I don't know whose yacht it's going to be, but I've got look, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. Do you guys do you have anything you want to say or bring up?
Not really. I mean, I've probably, I'm going to be on the show again, on the channel again on Thursday with RH Max. So, if anyone wants to tune in there, that will be a good chat. We can speak all things degen. So that's where I'll say my piece.
Do you know roughly what time that show is on Thursday?
9 a.m.
Well, actually, sorry, I can just look it up because it's the schedule's already there. Like,
9 a.m.
If you guys want to actually see when that show is in your time zone, you can actually, on this channel, the show is already queued up, so you can see exactly what time it's going to be. I'm also going to be doing another stream soon, and I'm not sure exactly what day. Maybe
so that's 9 a.m.
or the
Western,
day after or something.
That's 9 a.m. Western time, 43. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's 9 a.m. your time.
Yeah,
I'll pop it in the chat so if people want to check it out.
Yeah, cool. So don't forget, everyone, to sub to this channel. We've got multiple shows on here now. Got the happy hour with Doza. I've got my charting show. You guys are doing the you got like 43 and Bluey and everyone. We all variably rock up to that that show.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously this one, which is the originator show. This is the OG show. So yeah.
And so it's just Sammy. Sammy has to, and Jexa. You guys need to have something.
I'll have to come up with I'll have a think about what would be valuable info to bring. I've got a couple of ideas, and I've been working on some of my own stuff today, trying to figure out some of the new tools that we've got in the ecosystem. So maybe that might be something we can get out to everyone.
Since when has value been a prerequisite?
That's true.
True.
I'm joking. It's always
maybe a show that not necessarily for you guys to do, but maybe a show of like the possible uses of AI in crypto, could be a cool idea.
Yeah. Sounds fun. I don't even know how to stream from 2 different channels, bro.
Oh,
I'm like,
Nah.
I found this really cool tool that and you guys will notice I'm virtually never looking at the camera when I'm streaming, but some people feel it's more personal if the person that's talking on a stream is looking at the camera. There's an AI tool that fixes your eye where your eyes are looking, so you can look wherever the fuck you want, and the AI just always makes it like your eyes are looking dead at the camera, so you're just mean mugging everyone the entire stream, even if you're like fucking about, doing shit, looking at stuff on the screen, reading from a teleprompter or digital equivalent. And I thought that was really cool. But
wouldn't that look weird? Like you put your head down in a certain angle, and your eyes are just looking straight at the camera.
You'd be surprised though, because like
Exorcist level.
I went to a mirror and I did that, right? Like I looked into the mirror and then I moved my head around, and it actually doesn't look that weird. That because you can just be like looking out, like your head can be tilted and you could be looking out the side of your eyes while you're just trust me. Like it's I think it's fun. Yeah, I think it's fun.
I might as well just get the whole face swap deal. Just swap the whole face and put like a 20.
Oh, I have the AI avatar.
Just make a 22-year version of myself. I was like so much better looking when I was 22.
We all were 43. We all were, bro. I embrace aging like a bottle of wine, only getting better.
If only it was like a bottle of wine, Sammy. I feel like it's a carton of milk.
Did I tell you guys this before? What a girlfriend of mine at the time, her mum said to me that the things that you gain as you get older far outweigh the things that you lose, right? And she meant that in all respects, but possibly directly to do with like looks versus everything else. So, but just in general, right? Like the gifts that the things that you gain through getting older are more valuable than what you lose from getting older.
That reminds me of something that my aunties and uncles used to always say. They used to always say, like, youth is wasted on the young. I always used to say back to them, and money is wasted on the old. That was like always my comeback to that. It would be nice to have both, though. Hey,
I know, right? Too late for that, though.
I saw a tweet that someone put out, had a red door and a blue door, and it was like, which door do you pick? And one of the doors, the blue door, was like, go forward in your life 15 years, but you get $50 million, or go back to being 10 years old with all of the knowledge that you've gained so far in your life.
Oh, that's the easiest thing in the world, dude. Go back to 10.
Yes, but what I think it highlights,
that's not even a choice. That's not even a choice. Like what?
So no, but
what kind of?
I think you'd be surprised.
Go 50 years. Did you say 50 years
15,
ahead?
15 years into the future and get $50 million.
Fuck that.
Or back to 10 years old
$50 million
with all the knowledge that you've gained, so that you'd have your brain from now. But I think what it highlights is it's saying the people that are driven, that believe that they could have done things a lot better than they did if they had known shit, and believe that they've learned a lot and they've grown as a person, would choose the going back and getting to do a do-over, and would believe that they'd smoke that 50 mil, right? Like, I reckon I would. Imagine going from 10 years old, knowing as much as we know now, especially about stuff like crypto and shit. Fucking hell, bro. You'd absolutely murder the game.
To be 10 again? Well, I have nightmares about going back to school. I don't want to do it all over again.
Oh, but I would tell school to get fucked. Bro, like,
Would
you don't have to go to school. You would be able to be like, fuck school. Like,
yeah, but your mum and dad are going to say, get your ass to school, kid.
No, there's a lot of cool first things that you get to experience again.
Oh, that's a good point as well, man. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh, and imagine the increased gratitude that you would have for those things, knowing how special they are. Like, as in, some of those things you only appreciate them in retrospect. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I purely took this thing from a monetary point of view. I was like, which one's going to get me richer? And it's like the going back to 10 one. But so I was looking at it purely from a financial point of view, but you're absolutely right. Holy shit. That would be epic.
You get to like go to, house parties again when you're, although is that creepy? Like, cause you've got like the mind of a 45. It's almost like
you feel guilty the whole time.
It's almost like no, but it's almost like the Twilight thing. Have you guys ever thought, the movie Twilight, how it's got like the vampire dude dating the young girl?
And
that dude's like fucking 200 years old. 200 years old.
Gorgeous. They're such a cute couple.
Yeah, but he's 200 years old. What the fuck does he have in common with a 16-year-old?
I'd tap that old
A 200-year-old dude has nothing in common with a 16-year-old.
I think
zero.
So. I think that, like, look, because obviously this thing doesn't exist as an actual option, but I think within this hypothetical, it was saying you're taking your knowledge with you, but not like your. Like, so it would be done in a non-creepy way, right? Like, you would actually be 10. You would actually be 10 again. You wouldn't be like an adult playing with children like an adult in a child's body playing with children. You'd actually be a child again, but you would just have all your knowledge base.
Do you still know?
Actually, that would maybe be a bit
how to
fun, because you'd be dominating everyone at all times. Like,
do you have all that experience?
Kids around you wouldn't have a chance of winning an argument. You'd be like, no. Shut up, dumbass. Sit down. I'm going to fucking explain this to you. Like kids wouldn't, no one would have a chance,
you would get your ass beat.
You'd get beaten up all the time, bro. You would just be, yeah, man, this is starting to sound like a bad idea.
Take the 50 mil and just have a happy life.
Just take the 50 mil and sit on a yacht.
Guys, we've been going for almost 2 hours. So unless you guys have some final words, Tangent?
No, just the usual. Shout out the Tang Gang. Thanks for all their support and engagement. I really enjoy these streams, guys. And I think let's go bull market. Let's go bull market. Let's fucking grow.
Yep.
Sammy?
Hey, everyone.
Anything?
Good to see everyone again. Good to see you guys again. Take care. See you soon.
And we're going to go out with a clip. So, yeah, go knit some granola.
You read The Guardian? You read The Guardian? You read The Guardian, don't you? I know I'm gay, actually. I'm gay. You see, typical lefty. You don't like someone, call them homophobic, call them a fascist, call them a racist, call them a Nazi. That's what The Guardian teaches you. This is what happens when you drink too much soya milk. It rots your brain. This is the project of soya milk. It rots your brain. It rots your brain.
Take your microphone down.
No.
Take your microphone down and speak to me something.
No. I'm gay and therefore it's my right to have a microphone.
Do I have a microphone?
Again?
Do I have a microphone?
You can identify as a microphone. That got you, didn't it? Right to The Guardian. Right to The Guardian. Or socialist worker. I run my own company.
I'm an NHS.
So what, do you want a medal? So what's that got to do with anything?
Exactly why you brought it up first.
Honey? That's a very... Honey? Whoa, stop. That's a very paternalistic and misogynistic phrase. You shouldn't be using misogynistic language. Why using misogynistic language?
I didn't use misogynistic.
Calling people honey, that's indicative of patriarchal violence. Seriously. Yeah? You should apologise for being a lefty.
No, I apologise for saying honey.
Thank you. Go and knit some granola.